It set perfectly along the riverbank. Nice and round was this stump for my wider arse. Its many rings telling me it had seen many storms over many years. We are one and the same. On one side, the broken tree left a perfect high back to rest one's back against. I had found my new throne. Sitting down, leaning back, deep sigh softly sinking into tree. River moved swiftly past, singing its fast, constant spring snow melt song. I rested. I felt like a king, then a jester, a wise elder, and for a moment that young boy that came to the trees, climbing up high in them to find and be held in peace. I returned a few weeks later, looking forward to more respite along the river. Shockingly, my throne was missing. A fierce storm had blasted through, snapping trees in half as wide as Roman pillars. Like twigs, these once rooted, strong soldiers, fallen and quiet, all across the river. I figured throne was long gone, uprooted, washed away, lost forever. I suddenly felt like these trees, crestfallen. Against my better judgment, my balance not like my days as a young lad, something in me said to search anyway through the fallen giants. There it was, right smack dab in the middle of all that carnage. A shaft of light shone upon it. I struggled, fell twice, see above, meandering through the morass of uprooted dead brothers, finally making it to my seat again. Triumphant, surrounded by the downfallen, I leaned back to rest, feeling akin in this serene hidden place of the suddenly broken. Almost immediately I heard a creak, the back broke, and I tumbled and down and back. Luck was again on my side. Into a soft pine needle bed, laughing, unhurt, my legs pointing straight up to the sky. Sometimes the world just doesn't have your back. You get tossed on your backside, and if one is lucky, you're cradled into the waiting arms of unexpected love. I figured next, being lucky and all, that I must make a new ceremonial seat, so I lugged the heavy broken throne back out of that storm graveyard, a bit cut up from the branches, panting, fresh air, a mix of sweat and blood on my hands told me this was a good mission. Another stump presented itself, this one rooted to the bank. I made a new throne, in a new kingdom, along Old Man River, his song, as always, perfectly in tune. Welcome to the Poetry Oracle podcast, and thanks for listening. This is my first poem I've posted. I own I am a bit of a shy poet, always comparing myself to the great ones, the Rumis, Hafizes, David Whites, Denise Levertovs, and saying I will never write like them. And that, of course, is this ego of mine in full shadow regalia, judging and critiquing me and keeping what I have to say in a poem shy. Thanks to the encouragement from others, I offer this poem, Throne. Here goes. I just wrote this poem today after returning from the Pecos River here in New Mexico. The image is of my new throne I made as described within the poem, and someone else has found it already, carving their initials, K.L., into it. So then I carved mine and left them a note there. Let's see if they write back. No matter. It is great that another can enjoy the throne, for it is not mine. It is ours, for in this natural world one cannot own it for oneself, nor do I want to. For me, since a young boy, I had always gone to the trees when life was too much, and I lived in a place with 3 rivers which converged into the heart of the city, so rivers were also important to me. In the leaves blowing, the limbs supporting me, I was held and cradled by tree and river with its constant voice always flowing below. Whether I was there or not, all day and all night, tree and river. And that fascinates me, that they're always there, waiting. So when mother was dying as a boy, I'd go to the trees. When I couldn't stand life, listen to the rivers. They always had something I needed to feel and to hear. And still today, some 50 years later, I find myself going back to the trees and rivers again, after somewhat of a small hiatus in the autopilot of my life. Life has given me many challenges and disappointments of late, so a few weeks back I took my dogs, Puck and Cormac, back to our favorite spots along Old Man Pecos River and the great towering trees. The snow melt is at full strength and river is running strong and cold, carrying some trees right along with it. And the trees are green again, spring winds blowing through them, calling me to just sit in their laps. As we hiked along, I found this amazing stump sitting right over the river, and the tree had broke in such a way that it even had a high back on one corner, making the perfect meditation seat, my throne. So I sat out on that stump overhanging the river, and for some fleeting moments felt that all that was going on in my life away from here just did not matter much. I just am, and tree stands and river flows majestic, and that was enough. Returning a few weeks later, after a major storm, which was called a winter cyclone in Denver, the whole area around my throne was decimated. Large pines, which were quite thick and rooted to the ground, were snapped off like twigs, and they lay strewn across the river, blocking the trail with debris, broken limbs, and branches strewn about. It looked like a tornado had passed through, and my throne appeared to be nowhere. However, something said to search deeper, and I found it again, sat upon it, where it immediately broke, causing me to fall off the back, luckily into the soft pine needles of the many broken branches. In this poem and my return to Tree River, I recover part of soul again, that boyish, innocent, seeking one, confused by the world, a dying mother, a gang I shouldn't be in, and the anger at that time for what I used to call God. I remember climbing those trees, sitting in the branches as the trees swayed and held me there safe and protected. An old man river below, constantly telling me all things flow, and I will be all right. There is a great song by John Hyatt called "The River Knows Your Name." I often hear it, even now, while sitting along the fluvial grandfathers. And now, much later in life, I return again, crestfallen. Many things I thought were solid, not so much now. And the sudden storms that will come in life to me and within me, that uproot and leave one grieving, lost, another fallen soldier, so sure he could battle forever. There are things in the world much bigger than us, and remind us what little control we really have. And if we are lucky in those times, we will have those around us we can fall back into their arms of unconditional love, perhaps breaking our fall and holding us as we are upended, vulnerable, and looking to be reborn again down in the ashes of a phoenix fire. After the storm, there is nothing to do but grieve those that have fallen. My only brother, whom I'd lost over 20 years ago, came to my heart in those fallen embers. Then begin again to rebuild from the broken somehow, establish a new ceremonial seat in the world. And it is interesting how, in this new seat, I see the world differently. Those things I took for granted, a roof over my head, the taste of good food I cooked, the unconditional love of my dogs, my possessions like my books, art, music, mementos of great memories of past adventures, the passionate love and touch of a kind, beautiful woman, and a good night's sleep seem beyond value. Life has provided me a distinct slowing downness, where some days just completing one small goal, because that is all that my soul wants and agrees to, feels just as gratifying as winning the big battles of my past. And I think that is the gratefulness that is often spoke of in Buddhist and many other traditions. In this economic life some call the rat race, a construct that we find ourselves in, where we earn and chase money to pay for the roof, the food, our families, some possessions, and perhaps some adventures too. It is a cycle where paper is exchanged in the end, really just rented. This green paper which tree provided then flows like river down to the next person, sometimes in a fast current, sometimes a trickle, or completely dried up. It leaves many of us scrambling to save for our retirements, our old age. We are living so much, much longer now. And if we are successful, will we even be healthy and able enough to enjoy all that paper we struggled to save at these very old ages? These days I am not sure if I want to run in that race again. It seems like a bad bet to me. And yet, because I am in this construct, practicality tells me I have to figure out how to rent some money too, for I cannot go on forever with the saved money I have and small benefits I receive, even at my age, living in the richest country in the history of the world. So few haves, so many have-nots. Plenty to go around for everyone if we just shared equally and compassionately took care of each other. There was a time, not that long ago, where humans lived their days so simply. Is there food? Is there a roof? Is my family safe? Will we have these tomorrow? If yes, then wow, what a sunset. The wind through my hair. Look, a blue crane just took off. Listen to this poem. How about a kiss, a hug, or let's just hold each other all afternoon under the azure blue sky. Hey, let's build a fire, make dinner, tell stories, sing a song, tell a joke maybe, make love, and sleep underneath the divine star-filled night sky. And if and when the inevitable storms do come, bringing danger, injury, even death, we accepted them, for they were always nearby. And that made life richer, more cherished, because we do not live forever. And perhaps that is all there ever really is, sitting here on my throne, river churning by, and that apparently is enough.